Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. So happy to be welcoming Tiffany Fay and Zach Long, both from Minerva Christian School. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, Zach, you are not new to Minerva Christian School, and Tiffany, you are.
Yes.
So, who wants to go first? Tiffany, first of all, let's begin with you and find out a little bit about you. First of all, where are you from, and what brought you here?
I am from Alliance, Ohio, and the Lord did. I was searching for a new job, and He had laid it on my heart that I was going to be changing paths soon, but I didn't quite know where He was going to lead me, and I received a little bit of information from some good friends who did attend the school, and they pointed me in Mrs. Kennedy's direction, and the Lord just kind of took it from there.
When you say changing directions, is that changing schools or changing careers?
A little bit of both. I'm from the preschool background. I was a preschool teacher for about 3 years, and now I'm, as everyone would call it, the boss of who I was. I had my own class, and now I get to help the teachers oversee their classes.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
I went to, you mean high school or do you mean college?
Both. Let's talk both.
All right. I went to Marlington High School. I graduated class of 2010, where I continued my education fall of 2010 at Ohio Christian University. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in children's ministry in 2014.
And then went into preschool teaching.
Yes.
Okay, not everyone. I think there's a certain corner in heaven with a special crown for preschool teachers.
Yes, that's
not
what
everyone
I hear.
is called to that. What drew you to that?
At the time, I was wanting to practice what I had learned in college, and there wasn't any ministry churches hiring at that time. And I just happened to be looking through the newspaper, and I was the only applicant at the time who called for this preschool teacher job in Sebring. Yes, and I was blessed to go there, and I was a teacher for 3 years.
Tell me about those 3 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Highlights and joys and challenges.
I started out with obviously not a degree in children's education. I started out with a degree in children's ministry. So that was a little bit of a transition period, but the staff there, they were so welcoming, they were so nice, they took me under their wings, and with preschool teaching at the time, you didn't really need a degree, so they kind of helped me along the way, and I was able to do Bible stories with the kids in the room, and we would learn the basic ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, spring through fall, or fall through spring. And then in the summertime, we'd have more of a laid-back program where they were still learning, but not as intense.
Did you attend preschool?
I did, but it was clear back when I lived in North Carolina, and I couldn't tell you anything about it. But I do remember going to a church preschool when we were stationed in North Carolina.
Oh, stationed?
Yes.
So tell me about your family.
I was born in Hawaii.
Whoa.
So my dad is a veteran of the military, and he was stationed in Hawaii. We lived there for about 2.5, 3 years, where we then were stationed and moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and my brother was born. And I'm not quite sure. We may be there for about another 2-3 years. My dad had an honorable medical discharge. He had an accident during one of his training periods.
Sorry.
Thank you. And then after that, my parents sat us down, with me being the oldest. They asked me, do you want to stay in North Carolina, or do you want to move back home? And all my family was back home. So I don't remember how old I was, but I remember they had asked me, and I said, I want to go home, Dad. I want to go where all my family is. And we ended up moving here in Ohio. I went to kindergarten through 3rd grade at Liberty Elementary, which is no longer standing. And then from there, we moved to Marlington School District, and we've been in that house for over 10 years now.
Wow. How about that? Well, working with the very, very little ones, what did you love about it? What made you say, maybe I want to try something else?
I absolutely loved the affection that you get. You don't realize the big role that you play in their lives, and helping them build their foundation, even though they're not quite understanding who God is at that time and what you're doing in their life, but you're building relationships with them and helping them with their social skills and their intellectual skills and everything like that. It was the days when you're just like, I can't do anything. When, things are different at home. That was the hard part. When it was two different lifestyles for them, they would come to daycare or preschool and enjoy and have the time of their life. And then you would have to sometimes send them home where, they weren't quite getting that one-on-one attention or, that the love of Jesus in some of their lives.
Yes. So you actually got to be his hands and feet in their lives for that time. So what called you then to Minerva Christian in a completely different administrative, where you're getting to be the teacher's teacher now?
Things were just, for me, they were getting really hard at my previous job. And I was no longer happy to a point. And my family, they were very encouraging and supportive and told me to pray and look to the Lord, and he would give me what I needed. And I was reading a book for the mentor program where I attend church now, because I was helping with the youth program. And in it said, you have to have the courage and the strength to ask the Lord for what you want, and he will give you the answer.
Gladly. He will gladly.
Right. And that hit me so hard. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, being in a Christian home, you hear that your whole life, but until you experience things personally for yourself, it's a completely different atmosphere. And he hit me with that so hard. And I remember I called my mom during nap time, because I had to do something during nap time, and I was in tears, and I said, Mom, something's not right. I said, I don't know if this is the Lord speaking to me, but he gave me a vision that I was going to have a job somewhere else. I don't know where. At the time, I thought it was at our church at New Baltimore Community Church, and I talked to the pastor a week later, and he goes, actually, we don't have a ministry leader for what you're asking about, but it's on our board committee agenda. So I knew it wasn't there, but I was heading in the right direction. And my boyfriend's family, her children, so his nephews, went to Minerva Area Christian School, and she asked if I had a bachelor's, and I said yes. And she said, here you go, here's this paper, get in contact with Mrs. Kennedy. And I was like, okay. So nice. I put it off. I'm like, I don't know. I'll be happy here. It'll be fine. I'll work through it. And then my mom and my boyfriend and my dad said, what do you have to lose? You have to put yourself out there. You have to at least try. And if it's not what the Lord wants, he's slowly pointing you in the direction. And it was definitely what the Lord wanted.
Yes. Yes. Very cool. Zach, got to turn to you. How did your path first cross with Tiffany's? Was it during an interview process or after that she had been offered the position?
It was actually after she was hired, I think is the first time that we met. I think it was on Max, Minerva Area Christian School. We call it Max because it's abbreviated.
Got it.
But on Max Sunday, when we have I usually preach on that Sunday, and then we have the kids featured in some way, and I think we introduced you there.
Yes.
So.
Very cool. And you felt an affirmation inside they made the right choice?
Yes.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
No. Yes, I did. I believe she's going to do a great job.
Yes. Now, you are very interesting in that you're a product of Minerva Area Christian School, MAC, and now you are actually on the faculty?
Yes, I'm the elementary principal.
Principal.
Yes.
So you both actually are getting to work with teachers who, I'm going to guess, by looking at the fresh faces in this room, you've got some teachers there who are older than you. Am I right there?
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
How does that work? How do you maneuver that at Minerva as far as being able to guide and give direction to people who've been doing this all their lives?
Well, actually, one of the things that's kind of really cool is one of the teachers on our staff was actually my fourth grade teacher.
That's so fun.
So, and she does an excellent job. And so we know these teachers so well that it's almost like, we're not trying to say, we are above you and
Right.
we're going to teach you how to do it. They know what they're doing.
It's a teamwork.
Right. It's where we're saying, let's work together. You already know how to do this, and we're learning from them as well. There's things that you'd agree, Tiffany, we both need to learn. I mean, this
Correct.
is new for both of us. So,
That's a very great attitude to take into something rather than, and that shows confidence. That shows enough confidence, I believe, that you don't feel like you have to try and impress anyone, but to be still teachable and to be able to say, hey, God's appointed me to this position, so who am I to argue?
Correct.
But now, wow, let's all learn together and make this best for the students and with their welfare and their best in mind.
It's almost, as Zach could agree with me, it's almost like the age factor doesn't matter. I think, and it's also how Zach and I carry ourselves to be moldable and teachable from the teachers.
Yes.
I've felt very welcome since I've been there, and never once have I questioned it was because of my age that would be a non-contributing factor. I mean, they've been very welcoming and supportive and ask if they can do anything that I've noticed with the teachers with my interaction.
That's also very biblical. Don't be discouraged by your age. And I've always believed that the best teachers were willing to learn a little something from their students. And I think the best supervisors are willing to learn a little bit from the teachers that they supervise.
Correct.
Right.
I would agree.
So your fourth grade teacher's got to be so proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah? Have you sat down and said, how funny is this?
We have, actually. And actually, because I'm the youth minister at the church as well.
Right.
She's one of our youth leaders. And
Oh, that's
she's
cool.
gone on trips with us, and their family is very, very involved with the church as well as the school. So it's a cool relationship.
That's very
It's
cool.
different,
She
but-
must have been an absolute kid when she had you in fourth grade, yeah? She must have, maybe her first year out of college or something.
Probably something like that.
But who would know when you're in fourth grade? You're like, what, 9, 10 years old? So,
Right.
yeah. So how has Minerva Area Christian School changed since you were a student, or has it?
I think it's changed in that the main focus at the moment, anyway, is more on the preschool. We're going through some transitions, and where we are now going to 5th grade instead of going up to 12th grade. And we believe that might be a good thing, where we focus more on the preschool, which is why we brought in Tiffany to be have to focus on being the preschool director, and then I can help her and come alongside of her in being the elementary principal.
Yes. So that's happening to several Christian schools. I think they're really,
Yes.
really honing in and focusing on the younger years, those formative years, those all important years.
Right.
So is it preschool through 5th? What years are we talking about? What age group can students begin?
We have a 3-year-old class, and we currently have 3, 4 to 5-year-olds. Just depends on when their birthday falls. Preschool classes, and then we also have kindergarten through 5th grade.
Okay. And so then 6th grade, where do they go? Is it any of other options?
At the moment, we have a possibility of doing an online program,
Nice.
and that can be for 6th through 12th grade. So.
Oh, that's a nice option as well for the parents. And
Yeah.
do you meet around that time? Because that starts to be a scary time. Like, what are they going to do now? When it's time to change schools anyway, and getting into those middle school years, do you have some kind of a plan that you work with the families to try and discern what's going to be the best for their child?
Well, I'd say we want to do our best to keep them. That doesn't always happen, obviously, but because the draw of public school and sports and being involved with more students that might be their friends in their community, but we try our best to make sure that they're welcome and want to come back to Max.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, taking a look at the clock here, we need to take a short break, and we'll be back with Tiffany Fay and Zach Long and Minerva Area Christian School after these words. You're listening to Our Community.